Welcome. I am Captain Crazy.
And I'm Princess.
And this is our RWBY review for Volume 1, Chapter 5 of the DVD release.
Called Players and Pieces.
Also known as Chapter 8 if you're going through YouTube at Rooster Teeth website, the creators of RWBY. So this chapter is a lot about team building and learning the dynamics of each individual character in a team setting. So far, we've basically seen each individual character try to take on a Grimm all on their own, and now we see them
take on some much larger ones as the group.
Exactly. The episode starts off with the arrival of all of the different RWBY characters in comical ways. Nora arrives on the giant Ursa bear and exclaims that it's broken as soon as it falls over because she kind of whacked it a couple too many times. Yes, Jan comes flying in, as we saw in the last episode, from being flung from the giant scorpion. RWBY falls from, or jumps, from the giant raven bird thing and tells Weiss to jump, and Weiss is having none of that. Jan collides with RWBY and throws her into a tree, which is kind of probably a savior for RWBY because then she doesn't fall directly onto the ground.
Then once John untangles himself from the tree, he sees Weiss falling because she finally lets go from the raven, and then he decides to try and jump out and catch her.
Which promptly means that they fall because
they fall together then.
And Weiss falls directly onto Jan, breaking her fall, and well, Jan's just lying there. That's actually probably one of his best qualities. He took the hit. He is a tank. So other than that, we see the rest or the remainder of the teams pick up their RWBY or their
chess pieces,
or their artifacts, and they've now decided to run from the giant two Grimms since they've technically completed their objective, and now all they have to do is make it back. It is not part of their objective to kill these two creatures, so
since they're still learning and, you know, they can avoid the fight, they might as well try. Doesn't go very well, though.
Yep. This is after RWBY decides to charge the giant scorpion, and Yang and Weiss actually run to the rescue, with Weiss actually freezing the tail of the giant scorpion a few feet from RWBY's head. And after that, they kind of come to an agreement, and RWBY is going to not show off, and Weiss is going to be a little nicer. As she puts it.
It's the first time, you know, you start to see them and start to improve their friendship and their teamwork as well. So they're at least, you know, trying to cooperate with each other.
Yep. As we move along through the chapter, they start running from the creatures, and they make it into a ruin. Once we get to the ruin, they are now cornered, or trapped between, the giant scorpion and the raven, with the raven on a tower in front of them and the giant scorpion in behind. We get to see a little bit more of all of the characters' abilities.
Their nice fighting styles. I love watching the battles. They're just unique ways to see them fight, and all the weapons. And
yep, we see that Nora is very carefree with her fighting, very much like RWBY, except more bubbly, if that is possible.
She's also a bit more physically stronger than RWBY as well. She doesn't have as much of the speed, but she has a lot more strength.
I don't know, the end of this episode would give me reason to doubt that RWBY lacks in strength.
Enhanced by Weiss, though.
Still, I don't know. So, there's a few comedical elements where Jan can't jump a span, and Nora just goes, "Oh, you can't jump it? Okay," and basically
catapults him.
Or slingshots. whichever you want to call it. Yeah, and launches him over to the other side of the gorge by using her hammer, and then she just simply rides her hammer to the other side by using the cannon function of it. Very strong weapon, a little OP off the beginning. We see a little bit more of Blake's weapons, and that they're whip, sword, scythe type weapons, and that she can use them kind of like Indiana Jones, swinging around, good for saving herself from falling, good for trapping targets or getting hold of targets.
Personally, one of my least favorite weapons, though. Her and Ren's, I just don't care for at all.
Yeah, Ren's doesn't seem to actually do anything. His actual kung fu type stuff does more damage than his weapons ever do.
Yeah.
Bullets in this series, for whatever reason, don't seem to do anything to anything. So
no, you can take a lot of bullets and still keep going.
Where, you know, one sword and it's just and something's dead. So Jan's weapon that doesn't fire isn't too much of a disadvantage, actually.
He doesn't hit anything with it very much, though.
He's more of a shield. That's why I called him a tank.
Yeah. Plus, you also see him starting to direct the team as well, pointing out some of the weak points and having the other people attack and strategizing. You also see Ruby doing a bit more strategizing as well.
Yep. So they each come up with a plan for their the teams that they're basically leading at this point, to try to take down the creatures. The team of Pyrrha, Jan, Nora, and Ren managed to take down the Scorpion, mainly with Pyrrha and Nora. Pyrrha takes off the tail, and Nora launches herself up into the air and massively hammers the thing in the head. With the case of the Raven, Blake, Weiss, Yang, and Ruby, Blake gets it over onto the near the cliff. Weiss freezes it to the cliff, and then Ruby is then launched with the help of Blake's weapon and
Weiss's glyphs,
in order to launch her towards the Raven so that she can deliver the killing blow. And this is why I think Ruby is arguably as strong as Nora is, because she scythes it to the head, and then with the cliffs that allow her to actually run up the cliff, she runs up the cliff carrying this giant friggin' bird raven thing and slices its head off when she gets to the top.
But if she had the strength, wouldn't she have been able to do that from like the first blow instead of having to drag it all the way up, using her speed as well to try and get up there? She has Weiss augmenting her strength and her speed. Or not her speed, but her... I don't know. I think Nora would win in an arm wrestle battle against Ruby.
I am reminded of a fight or an arm wrestle between Tsunade and the Raikage.
I thought you were going to point to Seven Deadly Sins.
No, it makes more sense if we go by Tsunade, who would be Nora, and the Raikage, who would be Ruby, and speed overcomes power because literally you create that gap and use the speed to just power them over. So speed is a form of strength, and you can't be fast if you're not strong. Because how would you run quickly if you weren't strong? You need the muscles.
Flash
has strong muscles.
But he's not the strongest. There are people stronger than the Flash.
Yeah, but he doesn't have the bulk. He's got different kinds of muscles. So, once they actually kill these two creatures, they get back to the academy, and you see them sorted into their official teams now. And the way they sorted them was depending on which teams picked up which chess pieces. So it turns out that Ruby and Weiss picked up Bayhorse, and so did Yang and Blake. And so they're now on a team with Ruby as the captain, or the leader, whichever you want to call it.
Which Weiss is not pleased with at all. You can see the expression on her face. She's not pleased.
this little kid is now my leader.
How can I take... Yeah, how can I take orders from this thing, and I can take the final shot too, you know? Could have done it.
But, and then, so the team is named RWBY. And
with a W instead of...
Instead of a U. Yes.
Yes.
Spelling. Yay. So then RWBY becomes the leader of that, and Jan becomes the leader of...
Juniper.
Yeah, Juniper, which is Jan,
Pyrrha, Ren, and Nora.
Yes, that. Like I said, I'm horrible with names. So, that's basically all that happens in this chapter. We do see at the very end...
Torcherick.
Yes, that guy. And his map plan and a bunch of crystals for dust. And he basically says we need more men. And that's how the chapter ends. This chapter seemed to move a whole lot quicker than the previous entries. It did feel more story-driven instead of just an introduction to the characters.
Yep.
It gives you a little bit more character progression. But now that we've actually gotten the bulk of our main characters, at least until the later seasons when you start introducing newer characters, this should be the end of the just straight, here's the character, and having an entire episode of just introductions. What are your thoughts?
It was just really entertaining to see the different fighting styles and how they were starting to work together as teams. Even though they didn't know they were on the same teams, they automatically kind of went to those specific people and made that team organically first before even getting assigned to that. So that was interesting to see how they started working together that way. Just loved the music again, and just seeing the unique battle styles. Just very entertaining, and I love Nora. She's so carefree and funny to watch.
Yep. So that's basically all for this chapter. Just as a reminder, on October the 22nd, I believe, which is a Saturday, the newest episode, which would be Volume 4 or Season 4, however you want to call it, Chapter 1, is supposed to be released.
Yay!
We hope to be through a good chunk of at least Season 1 or Volume 1. We will get this eventually.
We're doing so well!
I know! Okay, so once we get through Volume 1, hopefully before Volume 4 begins, and we will start making Volume 4 chapters as soon as it gets released, and we'll be doing those on a weekly basis, or if they skip a week, as soon as we can after the episode comes out.
We'll also be skipping the remnants, just doing the straight episodes.
We will be also doing the remaining two volumes in between doing the newest episodes chapters. Crap. Eventually we will get this. We promise.
I was doing fine. It's you who was messing up today. For that.
Yeah, I did at the beginning fine. It's only the end of this video. Okay, on that note, I am Captain Crazy.
I'm Princess.
And we will see you next
time.
Yes.
Next time. We'll see you next time.